All right. Episode 3. We are ready for episode 3. It's crazy. Thank you so much, Nate, for joining me on Rolling with Simon for episode 3. Today I have Nate Ray with me, who is a wrestling coach at Advanced Martial Arts, my wrestling coach, as well. He has an Ohio wrestling background and is a veteran. He was a Army combat medic. So yeah, thank you so much for being here and
no problem.
Being able to share your experiences with me and with the people watching. Yeah, hopefully they'll get, much advice from you and your wisdom. To me, you're a very good friend of mine and I appreciate all the time your wisdom and your knowledge. So, yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Nate has coached me in my wrestling for quite some time, and it really has fixed my double leg and fixed my shot.
A small adjustment, right?
Yeah, a small adjustment, pivoting my foot, which I sucked at when we first started out, right? I was like shooting terribly for many, many years, always like failing. It was like smacking a wall. And then, now it's pretty good. not Ohio wrestling good, but it's pretty good, right? I've grown in my confidence, with more of my stand-up takedowns. I don't fear wrestling at all anymore, and that a lot of that is due to you. So thank you. Hopefully for my next MMA fight, I won't get beaten by points like I did in my first one.
You do very well and then take down.
Even though I was fighting with one arm at the time, but story for another time. Yeah. So man. So thank you again. I think I want to first touch on the first point is just your military background. How long were you in the military for?
6 years.
6 years. And which branch? It was the Army? Army, yeah. And what made you join? Why did you join to begin with?
Well, when I graduated high school, there was a moment where I had like 3 options to choose from. Oh, 3. 3 options to choose from. My uncle worked at the post office, and he was going to get me a job there. Mm-hmm. And the other one was I could wrestle at like some D2, D3 college, wrestle at like 125 pounds there, because that's how much I weighed in high school. And the third option was...
How much you weigh now?
Now I weigh about 153, 155. Depends on what I eat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated, I was thinking, I wanted to join the military because I wanted something that was different from where I lived. Because I live in like rural Ohio, so it's a city it's a small city, but it's a big town. There's like 20, 30,000 people. So, wow. And I remember my brother talking to me about joining, and he's like, but you could wrestle here. And I'm like, but what happens if I get injured? The scholarships get taken away. And I'm like, I also don't know what I'm going to do in college. I didn't have an idea of a direction of what I wanted to study or anything. And the Army, you join and they give you a job, so they give you a particular set of skills, and then you just get there and now you can run with it. Mm-hmm. So I looked at it and I thought it was the best bet because they were going to pay for college and I was going to get experience and they were going to pay me. And, I even told people, I'm like, God forbid I get hurt, but if I do, I still get benefits.
Yeah.
Unlike if I wrestled in college and now all of a sudden I twist my knee, I hurt my back, hurt my neck, the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're
it's
over.
done.
Yeah. Wow. So you chose the military. Tell me about your experiences. What did you do in the Army? Have you gone on tours? Things of that nature.
I did 2 tours to Iraq, and say the question again.
I was saying, tell me your experiences.
Okay.
Yeah, like what you experienced, the tours you went on, things of that nature. Was it a good experience?
It was a good experience. Most days, The thing about what I tell people when it comes to Iraq is it's like a roller coaster. Like you got your highs, you got your lows, and then when you least expect it, it throws you through a loop. Mm. And those are the days that are bad days. But you know, some days it feels like you're in combat forever, but it's not really as long as you think. You know, because like I'd have periods of inactivity, and then we have a firefight. Then we have periods of inactivity, then a firefight.
Oh wow, you've been in firefights then.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to get into that or?
I mean, it's very chaotic.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah, like I shoot at a gun range, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like even that enough, you like hear very loud noises,
mm-hmm.
and that can take you off. I couldn't imagine being shot at and being able to aim, my weapon
mm-hmm.
and being able to pull the trigger and hit something. It's just so much chaos going on. Like in the military, I guess do they really train you for that real life action?
Well, if you're asking if they're shooting at you, no.
Yeah.
they're not shooting at you, but they give you like active drills. So like they'll be yelling at you or something,
mm-hmm.
high stress things to get you like all finicky and make you lose your motor skills. So that way, when something bad does happen, you're already ready for the combat. Because it's train as you fight, and when you train as you fight, you try to look at all the scenarios. So like when we like do our training and stuff, we try to make things very sport specific on what positions and things that we do. You do that with the military. Just like when I was a medic, I think the hardest thing for me to do was I had to imagine every single one of my close friends. What happens if they died? What happens if they got injured? And I'm running through these scenarios all the time, so that way if it does happen, I have an idea and a plan of what's going on. And then on top of that, now I got to plan a medevac. And on top of that, now I have to listen to what the NCOs are saying, because the actual firefight's going on, and now plans change even more as we're getting attacked.
Wow, that's crazy. So when you got all that training, how long technically how long is that? In the military when you're doing your boot camp and everything?
Well, it changes for the MOS because the
what is MOS?
MOS is military military occupation. What's the S for?
We'll have to Google it later.
Actually, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, well,
MOS is basically their job.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So whatever their job is, the more combat MOS is like the infantry, the tankers, artillery. Their basic training is a little bit longer, because in order for you to be basic training, basically means that you're competent enough to actually go and fight.
Got it.
And then so like mine was 9 weeks, and then in my AIT, that's advanced individual training. That's where our sport specific. So that's where I would learn to become a medic.
Oh, a medic. Okay. What did you learn as a medic? Can you drain cauliflower ears?
No, well, I figured that out. But they don't really teach you that. What they teach you is basic life-saving skills, so like EMT basic stuff. But then they start going over more traumatic things. For example, like Ashman chest seals for chest wounds, because...
What is that?
Ashman chest seal, it's a bandage that you put on the chest, because when the chest cavity is punctured, usually the lungs hit.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, every time you breathe, you're breathing in and out, but now you got a hole in your chest. So now the air is not in your lungs anymore. Now the air is going everywhere else in the chest, and it expands. So you put the Ashman chest seal, so a little bit of air comes out, but not stuff's going in. And then you have to treat them with attention, do them with thorax. So you just basically stick a needle in their chest.
Yeah.
It's an easy way, and you let all the air out.
There's
some movie that actually portrayed it. I think it's like Three Kings or something.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. So you went through that training, and then when you experienced the live firefight, did you feel like that training actually helped, or were you still? I mean, there's nothing that can mimic that, right? That live, it's like bullets flying over your head,
Yeah, it's not really. They train you well, but also you got to remember, like I was a medic, so my job, I wasn't really trained to react to fire as much as
to help your comrades.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
So while they're going on, I'm paying attention to what's going on, and I'm with the platoon sergeant waiting for me to direct, to figure out what's going on with the medevac, and hopefully we don't need that.
Yeah. And can you explain what happens during a medevac?
So basically, well, you got the golden hours. The golden hour is when the person gets injured, you get until the next echelon of care. The next echelon of care would be like a surgeon or a doctor, because like I'm a Joe Schmo. I got my experience, but
yeah.
You know, I'm not like a doctor. Mm-hmm. So they will get sent to the next echelon care within that hour. So I treat them on site, and then within that hour, we transport, or a medevac, like air medevac comes in, a helicopter comes in, picks them up, and they take them to the hospital. And then from the hospital, then they decide if it needs to go further to a higher echelon of care. If it needs to go to a surgeon, depending on what kind of surgeon, all right, maybe they go back to Europe, or then finally they go to America because there's not much else they could do. It's very complicated.
Yeah, I understand. It's probably as complicated as the medical treatment in this country. But yeah, that's pretty incredible. I guess, how long were your tours in Iraq?
A year.
A year? What was living there like? Like, you explained before, your day to day, you know, you have your highs and your lows. We know your highs are crazy, right? You're getting shot at. You don't know, you know, your job is just to keep your guys alive and to save them.
And also prevent them.
And prevent, exactly.
Prevent medicine. So like, all right, well, hey, wash your feet.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what about the low days? Explain a typical day. You know, what's the food like in Iraq? Like, when you were on tour, like, what did you eat every day? Was it just like...
Oh, that changes. You know? Sometimes we eat MREs. Sometimes we eat the snacks that people send us.
Okay. Was there I heard there's McDonald's.
In certain parts, yes.
Okay.
In certain parts where it's more... What's the word I'm looking for? Upgraded, secured. What? Yeah, those are the words I've used.
Yeah. Okay, so depending on where you are, you might have a nicer experience.
Yeah, the experience is all different, because sometimes you're getting chow hall food where the cooks are actually cooking. They give you the food. Sometimes you get an MRE. Sometimes you go to a nicer base at the time, and then, you know, that's where you get your McDonald's and KFC.
Yeah. For those that don't know what MRE is,
it's a meal's ready to eat, so it's basically a prepared meal already, and all you have to do is just... Actually, you could just eat it how it is because it's already cooked. Like a good example would be like canned food. So like you have Chef Boyardee. Now everybody's like, oh well, you know, botulism stuff. Well, that is a can dented. And then when was the last time you actually seen a noodle that wasn't hard if it wasn't already cooked? Noodles are cooked. That's why they're soft and that's why they're malleable. So that's the example I give. Nobody really likes that. You could eat it as is. But it comes off a heater that you add water, it has a chemical reaction. That's how you cook it.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite MRE?
Oh, yes. Spaghetti and meatballs. Oh, yes, it comes with blueberry cobbler, and it comes with, it's either M&M's or a brownie.
Oh, wow. And I guess a lot of these doomsday preppers probably can get their hands on these, right? Yeah. You can just buy these MREs online.
I was looking at Amazon about it.
Oh, that's funny. Do you have a least favorite MRE, like the one that if you got, you're just like,
It was the omelet.
Oh gosh, that sounds disgusting.
The omelet. I can't remember if it's like a vegan omelet or if it's actually like
it's like just powdered eggs or whatever.
I despised it.
You despised it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd see that one and I'm like, I guess I'm just eating the snacks and the crackers now.
That's interesting. So everyday life,
every day would be different. So
yeah,
like there'd be days where we're actually on combat. There's days where we're actually assigned to, like, we can't leave the premises because we have to actually go out on a mission real soon. And then there's days where like we would actually go to the gym.
Okay, so what is like the pastime for everybody? Like, when you're there for a year, is there anything you can do? Is it like I guess you get creative, right? Like you got.
That reminds me, we invent my platoon. We invented the game because we only had a football, and we were tossing the football one day, and then somebody's like, "All right, let me see it," and they rolled it. Like I rolled it over to them, and they kicked it. And when they kicked the football, then we started thinking like, okay, maybe we could turn this into a game. So we basically like played kickball, but then we manipulated the rules, but we're using a football. So
did you guys have a name for this game?
I forget the name of it. But actually, if you ask each person who was playing the game,
it's a different name.
But it was funny because like we had a rule where basically you'd roll it, and if you swung and you missed, you try to kick because it's a football, so it's like it's wibbling and wobbling.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go in a straight line. If you missed it, you're automatically out.
But
as we're inventing the rules, we're challenging the way things are. Because like at first we didn't have a catch or anything. We just had a pitcher. Like you would throw the ball back if it was a ball or something, and I decided to manipulate the rule a little bit. So when they rolled it to me, it's coming this way towards me. I decided that I'm just going to turn around, and I booted back that way, and I started running. They're like, foul. I'm like, we didn't say that was foul. We didn't specify what was in and what's not. We're just usually happy that you kicked it. I'm like, I kicked it that way. It's fair ball.
That is so
they
funny.
We're very happy about it.
Yeah. So, man, you may have discovered the next great American game. But yeah, that's interesting. So you had to create your own time to get by, or your own basically activities, pastime.
We would
play games,
play card
work
games,
out.
spades.
Oh, you play a lot of spades.
I learned to play spades.
Yeah, that's
because like in Ohio we play euchre.
What the heck is euchre?
It's kind of like spades, but the rules are different. We only use like the face cards.
Okay, I a lot of my friends play spades. I never got into spades, so I'm the wrong guy to talk to.
People get mad about spades.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen it, and I'm like, I'm gonna stay away from this game. But yeah, the pastimes. You guys made up games. Was there anything that you did when you were like kind of alone? Did you read a lot? Did you, I don't know, do anything?
Write letters.
Oh, okay.
We'd write letters, and then if we had internet access, we would use the internet. I think MySpace was big at the time.
Oh, okay. So there was an internet.
Sometimes. It depends.
Yeah. What would be the reason why you would have it and not have it?
Location, mostly.
Yeah, it's all satellite, or no idea. Gotcha.
I remember them connecting wires everywhere.
Yeah, that's a whole different squad. I'm assuming, but so yeah, I mean, to me, it's pretty incredible that you were able to do that. You've experienced a lot. From what you've told me, with your experiences have been positive. With you have a lot of brothers, and you guys are really tight. You talk about that a lot, and it can get then you get to the other side of it where it gets really dark. And I know you've expressed to me, or you've talked to me about you've experienced being blown up like literally 3 times, and you've survived those explosions. What was the reason of those explosions? I don't remember if you told me exactly.
They were IEDs when we were driving on the side of the road.
Yeah,
and they blew up.
And what was your reaction to it? Was it like just loud ringing, just not knowing where you were? Like
the first one barely got the truck, and I didn't really pay too much attention. Like, oh wow, what was we pop a tire or something?
Yeah.
And then
those trucks are, I mean, they can handle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. They're yeah.
And then I remember the second time. That one got the truck, and we had to do some repairs. But the third one actually, I remember that one knocked me out. And yeah.
So for the people listening in, they're probably like, this piece of crap, why is he asking him all these questions and bringing up all these memories? I think the point I'm trying to get at is that one, I asked you prior to the doing this episode, you know, what you were able to talk about, what you're not able to talk about. But at the same time, you know, where you are now, I find it so incredible how you're able to still keep going in your life. You know, I mean, Nate, you do a lot. Like, Nate is grinding, you know. And again, if you guys watch each episode, the point I'm trying to get across is the human spirit and how unbreakable it is if you don't allow it to break, you know. So many people hit a crossroads in their life and they can decide to give up or keep going, right? And the people at the school, you know, our gym at Advanced, like, there's so many guys that have so many incredible stories where they face a wall and they could have easily just quit and gave up on life or whatever, but they continue to keep going. You know, and the point I'm trying to get across is that Nate has gone through so much. You know, you've experienced explosions, you know, being fired at, and I you know, you've talked to me multiple times about PTSD, you know, and your struggles with it. And for those that are listening, you know, the whole point is, like, someone like you, you have an incredible story to share, you know, an incredible piece of wisdom to give to those out there that are struggling with these things, because you've gone through it and you're still going. You know, I mean, it's sad out there. There's a lot of people that have gone to other things, whether it's drugs or you know, addictions or you know, dark places or things like that, and I've given up, but you haven't, you know. And my hope is that, you know, you sharing what you're sharing will help those out there that are really struggling, you know, because at some point everybody struggles,
right?
You know, everyone struggles deeply.
What's happiness without pain?
Exactly. You can't appreciate the sun without a little rain, right? So, you know, continuing with this, you know, you've experienced all this stuff. So my question to you is, how do you keep going?
I guess the simple answer is, like, what else is there? You know, you could sit there and be sad about your problems, but what kind of life is that? And then when I think about it, what got me through is that I wanted my life to get better. I started getting really depressed, and like, I wouldn't leave my house for like days, and yeah, life was very, I guess, dark is the easy way to say it, but
Yep.
But I wanted my life to get better, so what I did was, actually, it was Batman kind of helped me out a lot.
Yeah,
because I'm a big Batman fan, and what I found is, like, when I was reading his comics, that he was basically, like, overcoming all these struggles. Like, he would get hurt and stuff, and then there are psychological traumas. So that I used that to help me get to a point. So I would, like, buy all these comic books, and then I got to a certain point where I'm like, I don't need comic books anymore. I need to actually, like, do things to make me better. And I use that for inspiration, because, like, I started thinking about, like, okay, well, he's this smart, he's this athletic, and he knows these martial arts. So it gave me, I guess, like a role model, I guess is a way to say it. Someone to look up to, and then try to aspire to be. Not necessarily saying I'm going to go out and fight crime, and beat up, you know, criminals, but the other aspects of overcoming the tragedies. And then I would start actually bought a whole bunch of workout books. So running, I used to run all the time, because I was looking for martial arts. But at the time, there wasn't, because again, I'm from rural Ohio, so there's certain places that there were martial arts and some that weren't, but I was looking for certain things. Because I knew that I needed to express, like, a big thing with PTSD is, like, you get a lot of anger, and then you needed a way to relieve that anger. So I will go run, because I'd be angry, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go run. if I wasn't happy with things. Like, let's say I went out drinking the night before or something. I woke up the next morning, I'm mad that I was out drinking. I decided that I'm going to go run. So I would do those things until I got into martial arts. But it was like a long struggle of just getting over certain hurdles. Like, even when I came to advance, the first couple weeks I didn't actually roll. I didn't even actually, I just sat there and I just watched.
I remember, yeah.
I just remember watching everybody because I wanted to be comfortable with the surroundings. And that was one thing that I really liked about Brian was Brian, he would just come up to me each day.
Brian's our coach, by the way. So
Brian would come up to me and he would just say, all right, do you feel like training? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, thank you, though. And he would do that every single day until finally I decreased my anxiety level enough where I actually started doing the kickboxing. And I did that for about a month or two. And then Brian was like, what you really want to do is jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I know, but I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. And he was just like, okay, I'll then just do the kickboxing until I slowly got back into doing the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah. But you are a brown belt.
Yeah.
Now.
Addicted, right?
Yeah. We're both at the same stage right now. Both brown belts, one stripe. And yeah, man. I think, when you talk about all that you faced and where you're at now, there's a lot of wisdom in that, and a lot of people can't talk about it as well, and
it's very hard because
absolutely,
like when you start talking about war or any traumatic thing, your mind goes back. It's just like when you listen to a song or you smell a certain sound, you're like, oh, apple pie. All right, grandma's making apple pie. And then you hear a song and then you're like, oh yeah, I was dating this girl or I was hanging out with my buddies at the campfire doing this. And then, so when you start thinking about traumatic events, your mind goes back and then that shuts us down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really appreciate, you being able to share your story, and the things you experienced. There was a National Geographic, I think one of the issues, where you were actually featured.
Well, not featured, photographed.
Yeah, photographed. Yeah. I'm sorry, photographed.
No, the whole thing was
and that was in Iraq, right?
Yeah.
It was I'm gonna have the photo up, but it was you carrying one of the soldiers.
Yeah, one of our sergeants. He got injured and we medevaced him out. And I remember the helicopter landed and these guys come out and they're photographing. We're trying to figure out we're confused. Like, what's going on? Why are you taking pictures? This is very weird. We're in a war right now. So it was very confusing for us. But then I remembered when I got home stateside, it's been a couple months. I think it was around shortly before Christmas. My buddy calls me up and he's like, hey, Doc, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm hanging out in Barnes & Noble drinking this coffee, trying to find a book, something to read. And he's like, all right, well, good. You're exactly where you need to be. And I'm like, why? It's kind of weird. And he's like, go grab a National Geographic. He's like, you're in it. I'm like, all right, sure. I want to go grab a National. All right, yeah, I'm in it. Why would I be in National Geographic? There's no reason for me to be in National Geographic. And then he's like, just go in there and then just start scrolling through. He's like, when you get to the military part, I'm like, when the hell did this happen? Because the whole helicopter scene started forgetting. Like, I forgot that they even took the pictures. And I came across actually one part shows my backside, but I can identify the other guys with me. And then in the other part, you can actually see my face, but it's showing where it actually shows the photographers in the picture. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And then I remember I messaged them about being in it, and then they actually sent me some copies. I thought that was very nice of them.
That's awesome.
And I would just give them out to my other guys, like, yeah, check this out.
How did your friend find out? Like, how he reads National Geographic? I guess. Did it say your name in it? Like,
no, it doesn't say.
Then how the heck did he know? That's really crazy.
I guess he just recognized my face.
That is your face, like 100%.
You just look at it and he's like, oh. That's right.
That's crazy. You know what's funny is that your face was the only one that you could really see. Everybody else was kind of like their faces
well, for
were
that
down.
picture, the other one you can't see my face. At
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah,
the backside because you just see me just waving like, all right, we're going in.
Oh, that's crazy, man! What a small world. Like right when you're doing your thing, these guys fly in and start taking pictures of you. But what do you remember what that article or that feature was about exactly? Or
it was about military medicine from the initial on point, which would have been me. Like IED happened, and we started treating our patients, and then they would get medevaced, and then they would go to the hospital, and then the hospital. So it was basically like how they got injured, and then their transport and the service until they got stateside.
Gotcha. Wow. So yeah, they did this whole piece describing basically from what you go and do to where it ends. I actually need to read this. It's really interesting. As I think I'd like to know. And if anybody else is interested, I might scan the article and post it up because that is a really cool feature to be a part of. So, going back to, I guess, your struggles now post military, you're no longer active duty.
No.
And you face struggles still. You continue to deal with the PTSD. How do you feel like it's shaped your life now? Compared to when you were a young guy before you joined.
I feel like understanding what PTSD is, the symptoms, and how it actually happens, it helps you understand. And when you understand things, then they're not as scary as before. So, like when loud noises go off, and then you see like the startle response. Well, we're kind of conditioned like, hey, loud noises is never a good sign. It's either a bullet or a bomb. It's not good. So loud noises is not good. And
I know I've dropped a couple weights at the gym sometimes, and you're like ready to hit the deck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck did I just do? I feel like a jerk, but keep going.
Yeah, but it's just like you understand the symptoms, and then for me, I try to work around them, so that way I'm not limiting my life as much. I mean, I wouldn't say my life's very proactive, but it's much better than it was when I first got out. Because when I first got out, like I said, I wouldn't leave the house for a while. I wouldn't want to even like shower or anything. It's not a fun time. And then, like I said, with like the anger, then I started learning more about like why was I getting angry. For me, I felt like I was losing control, and then martial arts gave me control back.
Wow, that's deep. So there's, we're entering a new generation where a lot of younger people are thinking about, joining the military and, things of that nature. What advice would you have for them going into it? I know even like a couple people from our gym, I
tell them I'd say research. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, because it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. It's not like I'm gonna go in there 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm gonna do my workouts, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna work, and then at 5 o'clock I'm gonna go home. Sometimes it's not like that. Things change and they call you back, and now you're there. So I would say they need to understand that it's a lifestyle, and that they need to understand what to expect, like as much as research as possible.
Yeah. So
and like depending on the branch of service, go talk to people, get as much what's that word I'm looking for? Certain point of views. You want to get as much views as you can.
Yeah. So those out there, make sure I think the key word is to get a lot of advice, right? I know you yourself have recently started school. I forget, was it pursuing nursing or?
No, I did try nursing, and I realized that I didn't like that as much.
Yeah.
And then now I'm doing psychology.
Gotcha. So, you know, you going into the military after high school, and then now you're a man, and you've experienced a lot in life, and now you're going to college.
Yeah.
Right. Would you say that path was better, or would you have, if you could do it all over again, would you have gone to college first after high school?
No, because who knows what I would have done.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I would have got some major, maybe even flunked out because, hey, now I'm in college, now I'm getting student loans, now I'm partying, now I'm on my own, woo, and now I'm just getting debt and I'm just ruining my life.
Yeah.
It might not have been a good thing. Hey, it may have been a good thing, but I didn't like my options. I didn't think it was good for me, so I decided to go with this. Versus now, I got a little bit more direction of what I'm doing.
Yes.
Even though I feel like Billy Madison.
Hey man, I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of kids today, thinking about, which path to take in their lives. And, I think most people in this country are like automatically, go to college right after high school. Times are changing. I think now trade jobs are a big thing. You might want to think about other options, and I think a lot of opportunity is wasted with a lot of the younger generation when they kind of just go to college and they don't know what they want to do, and they incur all this debt and then they graduate and they can't find a job. That's a real thing, and my hope is that I can shed some real light on it. I think the most important thing is finding who you are and gaining some maturity.
Well, you got to think like 19 to 21-year-olds. They're still trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
They're still trying to figure out who am I. They just ended high school. I was part of this clique, but they don't realize it's not really that was your friends. But you weren't like, oh well, we were the preps, we were the partiers. Like every high school kid's doing that.
Yeah, you really have no idea who the heck you are when you're 20, 21. Really, I mean, I didn't really figure things out until I was more closer to 25. And even at 25, I was like, what the heck am I doing? So, when I went to college, I was like, okay, I know I like stuff. So if I was going to pursue something as a job, let me get a degree that can help me in that, And even then, I didn't even get a job that I have a degree in. So, the job I have now, I'm very blessed. I can, do what I need to do from home. And I mean, it's still a lot of work, but it gives me a lot of flexibility, and that's what I was looking for, because what I really want to pursue after is martial arts and oriented things. And, I think that the key here is pretty much like, when you first start out, you got to do the stuff that you need to do so that you can live your life. But the other things you gotta do as a hustle, and like if you live your life working the 40 hours a week and then you party or do whatever and enjoy your life, that's cool. Do that, but unfortunately, nobody just has $1 million in their lap and can just, become.
Yeah. I don't really like that lifestyle because, like, when you think about it that way, going out and partying all the time, it's not a party if you do it every weekend,
Yeah,
And I think with like the people just starting out in life, trying to figure out where they're gonna go, college may not be the best thing for them. Military might not be the best thing for them. Trade school might not be the best thing. But what is the best thing for them is education. You need...
Yes, you need to learn something. You need
to learn something that makes you... What's that word I'm looking for? Not applicable. Approachable.
Like useful in the world?
Useful, yeah. That actually makes you useful. Mm-hmm. Because, you may be freaking awesome at things, but nobody knows you're awesome, and nobody really cares about who you are. Look at everybody's social media. Everybody's trying to be famous.
Yeah.
You're trying to be famous for what? Nothing.
Yep. I think for, on my end, it's like you put the 40 hours a week into your job, but then if you're pursuing after a goal or a dream, you got to put that other 40 hours in, you know, like you got to constantly, like I had Ron on for episode 2, and he, you know, when he started Love to Brew and Our Society, he was saying that he legit works 80 hours a week, you know. When I think about that, I'm like, I work 80 hours a week, you know, between training, working on these, you know, the video stuff, and all my other projects that I'm working on. Like, you know, I am putting in those, you know, hours, you know, outside of, you know, working, and then my professional work life, and then my, you know, goals, you know.
I think you guys are hustlers. It's like you got your job, and then the hustle is what you're doing on the side. So that way your side job becomes your eventual primary job.
Yeah, well, you know,
that's why most people are doing martial arts. Oh, I want to be a big MMA fighter. Okay, well, now you have to go through like the not as great pay and stuff, and until you work your way up.
Exactly.
And now you're in the limelight and stuff. So keep doing your thing. I mean, Demetrius Johnson said that he was working another job, right? When he first entered the UFC.
I think Frank Yeager was a plumber when he first started out. I mean, that's not my goal. My goal, I don't think I'm ever gonna go and become a UFC fighter or anything like that. But, I mean, with my job, I'm pretty blessed. I could see myself working there, you know, for the rest of my life. You know, but for me, I always want to be doing something with martial arts related. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just my life now, and what I find important. You know. But I also find having a professional career also important. So if there was ever a point where I ever hit like $1 billion or whatever, or you know,
you won the lottery.
Well, not even the lottery, like Bitcoin. Like like if I ever hit like, you know, 15 million bucks or whatever, then it's like I might have to rethink this. But you know, looking at reality wise,
I think you'd still that's the still thing you'd be doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
what I tell people all the time is like, if I ever won the lottery, if I ever did anything where I got rich, I'm doing the exact same thing I'm doing
exactly,
now, but on a boat.
Yeah.
And I remember like everybody's playing video games at their foot. I'm like, I'm gonna be playing solitaire on a boat. I'm like, we're all gonna be doing it on my boat. Like,
I'm gonna be working at J&J on my boat. Yeah. On my Wi-Fi on my yacht. But yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, I think it's important to have skills, you know, because all those skills translate. I think Miyamoto Musashi, you know, the Book of Five Rings, and like he wasn't just a master at the art of fighting. Like he was also a master of poetry. He was also a master of archery, and he's like, when you're a black belt in something, that translates to everything else.
Yeah.
You know, you when you master something, you can become a master at so many other things. And I think, you know, it's so funny, like. Just being good at certain aspects at my job has helped me to be good at aspects outside of my job, and then vice versa. MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, all that stuff has helped me so much, you know, with my professional career, because it helps me to keep grinding and not give up, you know. You know, and all this stuff, like, it's just, like you were saying, it's the ability to learn and to continue to learn, you know. And
that kind of goes back to, like you brought up Miyamoto Musashi.
Yeah, Miyamoto Musashi.
But if you remember, there's a book actually about his life, and he was a Ronin. He was uneducated. They consider him like a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And then he committed a crime, and for his punishment, they locked him in a tower, and they said, now you have to read every day for a year. So all he did was just sit in a tower and just read books.
Yeah.
And he became educated, and then that's when he started pursuing that kind of life.
Yeah, education is the most dangerous weapon. So you might be able to choke fools and do all that, but man, being smart, that's a whole different level, man. Or figuring things out, at least that's what I should be. That's what I should say. Being able to figure things out, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, advice for the younger kids that are, you know, about to make some big decisions in their life on where they are going. Really think of, if you know what you want to do with your life, then yeah, go to college, get your degrees, and do what you need to do. If you want to be a doctor, there's, you know the route. And I'm gonna have doctors on the, you know, I'm gonna interview Sung, and maybe Vadim too. who are Sung's an oncology doctor at Robert Wood Johnson, which is one of the top cancer hospitals in the country. And then Vadim is a cancer surgeon or oncology surgeon. And they're both Sung and Vadim, they love the martial arts. So yeah, it's something that I'd like to have on the show as well. But if you know what you want to do, just go after it, right? But if you don't know and you need some time, like really spend time to find yourself, right? I think that's something that I did for a long time. That's something that you did for a long time.
Well, I think that you should be proactive.
Yeah.
Like when you say take time to do things, to think for yourself, it's not necessarily thinking, but like, all right, I'm going to try drawing. I'm going to try working on cards. You're trying these experiences.
Find it.
Find it. Like,
exactly.
That'd be a better word.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. So listen to Nate. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But thanks for sharing about your military background and the struggles you face and what you're going through. Now let's get into your wrestling background. You wrestled out of Ohio. Were you born and raised?
Yeah.
Yeah, born and raised in Ohio. What was it like growing up in that wrestling scene in Ohio? And how do you compare it to like maybe Jersey or, because you've seen wrestling from New Jersey. One of the guys that was in our gym was a D1 wrestler.
Yeah.
And you've faced him and you do pretty well. You've wrestled against other D1 guys that have come, in and out of the gym. Yeah. And you do pretty good. You're not
for a guy with not the pedigree, right?
Yeah. You're not really getting beat here. You're doing some takedowns yourself. But what would you say in terms of growing up in that scene, the Ohio wrestling scene? How was it, and how is it different from like New Jersey?
Well, in Ohio, at the time we focused a lot on takedowns. That especially like my particular high school, we focused on taking you down. So my biggest strategy was I would just take you down and I let you up. I take you down and I let you up. And if you escaped or something, I'm like, oh, whoop-de-doo, now I get to take you down again. And I focused on my takedowns. Versus like if you go to some other places, they more focus on the mat wrestling. So you have some even got like D1 wrestlers who are champions, but they can't take you down. I think Chael Sonnen talked about that before. Like, you got guys who are really good at mat wrestling. It's just like Jiu-Jitsu. Like, you got some really awesome bottom players, but they suck on top.
Yeah.
And my experience with coming over to Jersey, I didn't think necessarily it was... Because at the time when I was in Ohio, New Jersey, Blair Academy was #1.
Yeah.
They just knocked off... what is that school? I forget.
Yeah, it's fine.
But they just knocked off the Ohio school who was running things for a little bit. And when I was talking with Lewis, one of our D1 wrestlers, what we were figuring out was it's more not necessarily the styles are different. It's just it goes through generations. So like I do more traditional takedowns and stuff, and then from that, you would start and end up with the low single shots. So you start seeing people like shooting really, really low. And then you end up in the funky stuff. And the funky wrestling is just like scrambles, and they're doing all these weird, that's why it's called funky, because like putting in all these weird odd positions to get the takedown and stuff.
That's like Ben Askren style wrestling.
Yeah, like Lewis, he was good at like all of those. So it was not necessarily like Ohio, the wrestling was different. It was just, I think it was the time. Because as you start going through, then the traditional stuff starts coming back. It's just like with Jiu-Jitsu, like everybody was doing self-defense, and then it started becoming more sport, and then it started becoming marimbalos, and now we're in the leg lock phase.
Yeah.
Now people are starting to see that pressure passing is doing well against certain leg lockers, I guess you should say.
Yeah.
So it just like all runs through a cycle, and it's like as people get through, like I remember people telling me like, "Oh wow, the Kimura's hot again."
Yeah, I think it's all like a circle. Yeah. It just what's old is new and what's new is old, right. And it always comes back. I have a feeling like, I don't know, something about judo is gonna come back and kind of like change the game a little bit.
I think if they change the rules.
Yeah. So some moves that
I presume that you
I
had
noticed.
Trevor talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he was doing some stuff that I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah, some interesting game, that I haven't really seen. But but then that's the strong suit of that is in the gi. I mean, it's not gonna work in no gi. So you also have that aspect of it. But yeah, so what was the scene like? Was it very in your school that you grew up in, like was wrestling the number one thing, and if you were a wrestler you were the man? Like
my high school wasn't, oddly enough, Ohio still football. Like everywhere, everybody's all football oriented. So they were the wrestling. Like our guys were good, but I felt like that we didn't always get the recognition that we deserved compared to like other things like basketball and football.
Interesting, yeah.
So our teams were good, but the sport, I think like it was well known and stuff, but it wasn't as supported as like football. But I think that's more because like the football, you got the cheerleaders involved, you have the faculty, you got the 12th man section, you got school pride where people are dressing up and hooting and hollering and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why it's more of a culture thing. But in Ohio, well, actually my team, we would always every weekend was like a tournament. So we would just, and that was one thing that I liked about like wrestling versus jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu you have to pay to do tournaments.
Yeah.
That part I don't really like as much versus not Ohio, but wrestling in general. Wrestling in general for high school, because it's a sport, now you can go and you get more experience and stuff.
Yeah,
because you're going to compete all the time.
Yeah, competition experience in jiu-jitsu is pretty difficult. I mean, at some point it is kind of like a expensive sport, right? I mean, you pay your dues, you pay to compete. Very rarely do you get paid for it, unless if you're
they're starting to
coming up
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
yes.
Until you get to that level, which you have to be grinding for quite a long time,
Or lucky.
Yeah, it can be one or the other or both. I think Ron was talking about last time. Being at the right place at the right time, type of situation, and hey man, it is what it is, but when you first start out, it's very expensive, paying for all those tournaments. So I mean, it can be nice to get sponsors and things like that as well. But yeah, so that's a good explanation of your wrestling experience. So now how long did you live in Ohio for?
18. The thing is, so I turned 18.
Oh, wow.
And then I came back from the military, and I stayed there for, I think, a year and a half. Then I came here.
Yeah. So what made you come to New Jersey? Out of all the other states in this, beautiful country, why New Jersey?
All right, so literally the day I came back, two of my friends were moving to New Jersey, and they were having a going away party. So I came up to them, and we were all hanging out because like I just came into town and they're leaving, so it's a nice little party. And I remember them telling me like, "Hey Nate, you want to just like screw Ohio and come move with us?" And I'm like, I haven't seen my family in a couple years. I'm like, let them get used to me being around, and then I'm like, maybe next year I'll figure it out. But I was joking. And then a year comes back, and then like they're blowing up my phone, and they're like, hey, come check it out. So I actually round up like a bunch of our friends, and then we drive all the way to New Jersey.
Oh my God.
To experience it, like what it's like. And then when we get here, they did things right. They had us go to the bars. They had us go to the beach. They had us like hang out. We were always doing something, so it's like very lime. And then they're talking about like how the access to New York and Philly and how there's AC. So like a lot of people in Jersey, they keep forgetting that they can get bored, but they can't get like Ohio bored. They can't get Iowa bored. They can't get Colorado bored.
What do you mean?
Or the Midwest.
Yeah, what do you mean Midwest bored?
Like if you're bored in New Jersey, you can drive an hour and you can go hiking up in the mountains. You can drive an hour and you can go hiking in the Pine Barrens. You can drive an hour and you're going to the beach. You can drive a couple hours and now you're at your own little Las Vegas, Atlantic City.
And people call us the armpit of the U.S.
If you're bored, you can go to New York, and there's always something to do in New York. You can take the train down to Philly as well. Like there's options. There's a lot of options.
That's why I love New Jersey, man.
It's expensive, but you know, if you save up just enough, we're like, all right. Well, I try to do like maybe like one thing like once at least every 3 months, where I try to like capitalize on New Jersey lifestyle.
Yeah.
Versus in Ohio, I can go from town to town. They might be doing the same thing. So it's basically like New Jersey's got a lot of options. Even when I lived in Colorado, we had hiking, and hiking was awesome, but you had such a long winter. And then,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you like New Jersey, and now you're definitely in New Jersey.
Like in Ohio, there's a lot of hiking and stuff, but I feel like Jersey, you have more options.
Yeah. You lived there for what, like 6-7 years now?
Here?
Right? 2012. 2012. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2018 now.
About 6 years. About 6 years.
If our brains combined, we'd be simple math.
Yeah. 2 + 2 is 4. Quick maths. But yeah, so it sounds like you like Jersey.
Oh,
yeah. So coming to New Jersey,
there's also more culture.
Yeah.
I can
a
lot
understand.
of cultures. You got, you know.
Yeah.
I remember one of my friends is like, you know, like they were talking about like culture stuff. Like, all right, we have white people now. You guys got Russians. You guys got Jewish. You guys have Germans. Like you guys have like authentic Polish people, like authentic races. I mean, not racist cultures.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny because I was telling Trevor, like, there's not many places where you literally could drive 5 minutes from where I live and go to like an authentic Korean restaurant, authentic Indian restaurant, all, you know, legit places owned by, you know,
by their families.
By their families, exactly.
Like they've been doing it for years.
Exactly. So. And we're all, you know, we're all in a pot together. It's not like, you know, I mean, you know, other places are very diverse as well, but I know when, you know, they do the whole Chinatown and this town and that town, and, you know, it's kind of like separated, you know, and then you go to one section, there's like all Chinese people plus a couple, you know, non-Chinese people, you know, but like here you walk into Central Jersey and it's like everybody, everybody is there, you know, you walk into a restaurant, you're going to see everybody, you know, and that's something that I loved growing up here and really appreciated. You know, and when I have kids, that's what I want them to see, you know, full diversity.
Experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I love Ohio. I always go back like every year, sometimes twice a year. But you know, I see my family, I see my friends. I get in touch with like how I grew up and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just think it's more active for me, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And then when you came to Jersey, did you start training immediately? Like,
no.
You took some, like, when you came to Jersey, how long did it take for you to get into? Go to advanced.
Going to advanced, it didn't take me too long because Travis was my roommate and he was like, "Hey, just come to the gym with me. Come with me." I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I don't know.
And Travis was
Travis is the friend that actually convinced me to move over here.
And he's also he's fought around the MMA circuit, in the pro MMA circuit.
Yeah.
And did pretty well. But you know, he's got a kid now and doing his thing, so Travis, if you're listening in on this, your man Nate, thanks you very much for bringing him here, and I appreciate you for bringing him here as well. But so it took you some time to get into it. Travis got you finally into it, and would you have ever thought you would have been doing that before, like being in Ohio, coming from the wrestling background, going into the military, would you ever have thought about doing MMA, BJJ, Muay Thai, whatever, prior to coming to New Jersey?
Well, when I think about it, it's just more of a time thing because when I came here, MMA is now becoming a prominent thing versus like when I was in the Army, it was still, and even in high school, it was still like, I think when I was actually in high school, the UFC itself was actually like underground.
Yeah.
And then when it started building up and stuff. And then when I moved to New Jersey, now it's actually prominent. Like it became very, what's that word I'm looking for?
Well known, like
popular.
Popular.
It actually got to the mainstream. It became mainstream.
Yeah.
So because like I think that if this would have been around when I was in high school, maybe I would have went after that route. Because now I'm seeing people are like, okay, there's progression and stuff. Because with wrestling, I was thinking, I'm like, all right, well, I can wrestle in college and then I'd be teaching. I'm like, what do I do after that? That was another thing about why I joined the military. It's like, what am I going to do after wrestling?
And you've, been around the block with competing. You fought MMA, and you're continuing to fight MMA, and continue to, still compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and maybe we'll see you do a kickboxing match. Who knows? But you've experienced the Ohio wrestling and getting that background, and now that you're going into BJJ and wrestling, MMA and BJJ, what would you say? Do you think that the level of wrestling in those other martial arts, like, is it at a good place? Does it need work? Does it?
Well, in jiu-jitsu, it definitely needs work. Everybody's pulling guard, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you have really bad, really bad takedowns and a nice guard.
Yeah,
but like self-defense aspect, I think you're kind of hurting yourself. But that's just my thoughts personally. But I think that takedowns, in MMA, the wrestler usually decides where it's going to go.
Yeah.
If your wrestling's better than his wrestling, you can stand up. If his wrestling's better than your wrestling, you're going to the ground.
Yep. This is exactly what happened in my fight. 2 rounds of just being, laid on top of. So, yeah, it sucks. But what do you think BJJ needs to work on in terms of the takedown game?
Learning. That's actually why I started a project right now. I'm working on BJJ takedowns where I'm actually teaching people how to wrestle. Basically, just like, all right, well, get familiar, have an idea. Like, all right, this is the stance, this is how you move, this is how you reach, this is how you actually do things. Because like sometimes people come up in jiu-jitsu tournaments and they're coming in there trying to wrestle me, and I'm like, all right, you know how to hand fight, that's great. I'm like, you're hand fighting great, but your feet are telling me you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. And
I'm like, you're crossing your feet, and you're like, I'm like, that's not even.
Yeah, and then you hit your signature double. Yeah. And if you don't hit that double, you hit that single right after.
Yeah.
And then they're done after that. I'm looking forward to that BJJ takedowns project you're working on, and definitely will share as much of it as I can.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe we can even do a collaboration or something. You could use me as your uki, just toss me and stuff. I'd like that, but I know connecting back to your your struggles, like your PTSD and things like that. Since you weren't even aware, you were telling me like when you got your first MMA fight, you weren't even trying to fight. Like
I was just training, and then Brian's like, "Hey Nate, do you want to fight?" And I'm like, I don't know. I was like on the cusp, and Travis just jumps in. He's like, "Yeah, he's gonna fight.
Yeah.
He's in it." And I just looked at Travis, and he's like, "He's gonna fight. I'm telling you, he's ready. He's fighting. We're doing it. Yeah, let's go."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
okay,
let's do this."
Yeah, that's so funny.
I remember like when they started swinging at me, like he's trying to take my head off. I remember going to the corner. I sat down, and I'm like, Brian pulls my mouthpiece out, and it's blood. I just see blood just dripping out, and I'm just like, he's trying to kill me. I'm like, this guy's trying to.
He was
Travis just looks at me. He's like, it's a fight. Of course he's trying to kill you. And
He
I'm
was
like,
throwing bombs,
I'm like,
man.
this is a nice experience because I remember like I made a little joke to the Travis and Brian like when they locked the cage. I was like, they actually locked the cage.
You can't get out.
They legit actually locked the cage.
Yeah,
like
no,
that's
you
crazy.
can't run out after.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that kid was tough.
Yeah, you. But wrestling and jiu-jitsu won at the end. You took him down and finished it.
Wrestling and cardio.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, man, you were eating some punches in that fight. It was never seen someone take that much damage. But then again, you got blown up 3 times, so and you survived that. So what's a punch gonna do, right?
Yeah, I got knocked out once.
Yeah. So with that, background and knowing that you have PTSD and that you're fighting and competing, has it helped you at all deal with the PTSD?
Oh yeah, it's a great way to, like I said, you release anger, stress, and the biggest thing that I think that can really help for like other veterans is, so like when you watch a war movie, what's really glorified? Is it the war or is it the interactions between the soldiers? It's the brotherhood. That's what's always glorified in war. They have their battles, they have their pain, they have their struggle and stuff, but it's how the soldiers interact with each other. So the brotherhood. And then we come back, we go to our civilian lives, and it's hard for us to adjust because in war, I know if something happens, this person's got my back no matter what, 100%.
Yeah.
But when I come back in the civilian world, people may not be, they're not on the same boat, they're not on the same mindset that I am. But when you join like a jiu-jitsu gym or even like a Muay Thai gym or any kind of gym where you're actually like training with people, you're building up that same camaraderie. Now, they won't necessarily have your back as much as like brotherhood in the military, but it's still enough where it's like, wow, you actually feel like you're part of a community, you're part of something bigger than yourself again.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, there's plenty of doctors for me to talk to. There's plenty of lawyers for me to talk to, businessmen. Like we got a lot of people that you could talk to about anything.
Yeah, really.
And the whole brotherhood is just like it's a tribe.
Yeah,
I think that could really help soldiers with coming back home. It's like doing things, but doing it slowly because you have to decrease the anxiety level to get yourself ready for it. So if you get somebody who's got really bad anxiety and now you put them underneath my mount. Ooh,
Yeah. Probably best to start with like hitting pads or something.
Yeah. Well,
right?
like I did, just slowly build things up.
There's probably a lot of that's probably a lot of good advice that people wouldn't recognize.
Yeah.
Probably starting off with just hitting pads or something like that.
Yeah, just working out, just going through the motions.
Yeah. Probably not sparring or rolling it.
Probably not sparring because that could be bad.
Yeah, or even with drill. I mean, even if they do jiu-jitsu, that they probably start with drilling and not rolling at first,
depending on their comfort level. Because I mean, you can always just tap like, all right, well, my anxiety is too much.
Yeah.
Just, all right, now I'll go relax. So I would say you could also do that.
Do you think it's with the community of the jiu-jitsu? Depending on the gym, do you think it's accepted where somebody just taps because they're dealing with anxiety? Like, do you think people, you can get into your head like, well, they might think I'm a punk if I do that, and
Well, I think there's a stigma to tapping, but then, well, let me rephrase that. Not a stigma to tapping, but a stigma to tapping for unknown things. But when you think about it, when you're a white belt, you don't know what is actually going to break. You don't know what's actually going to choke you out. You don't know what's going to hurt. It's your comfort level. You're going to tap when you feel discomfort. Now, for someone who's just starting, they might just be like, I mounted them and tapped. Like I remember tapping people just with my side control. I didn't take anything about it. I'm like, all right, well, you get used to it. But then, you got our higher belts, like Ron's not going to tap for almost anything. You're going to have to.
Yeah. You have to kill him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of good advice in that. I think, with people that are new, it's just like you said, when you come in to a new place and you don't know anybody, the anxiety can be tough.
Just showing up's a victory.
Yeah.
That's what I have people come up to us and me in the gym and they're always asking me like, right, Nate, what should I be doing? I'm like, just show up.
Mm-hmm. That's the key, right? Just show up.
Show up. I'm like, you show up, and then you figure things out from there. I'm like, but showing up is what you need.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how I got better. That's how I increase. And like, I'm doing that at a pretty successful rate. But what I'm reminding people is every single time they're like, oh, wow, you got your brown belt. That's pretty quick. And I'm like, yeah, but look, I'm here every single day.
Yep.
I'm here after
You're
practice.
pretty much there 6 days a week.
I'm here all the time.
6-7 days a week.
I'm like, I always show up. I'm like, that's how you get better.
Yeah, so, you know, if you're new, show up, be humble, tap if you need to, let your instructor know, you know, if you're struggling with stuff.
But that's a hard thing too, is admitting that. Because for some people it might be admitting defeat, like I'm weak. You're not weak.
Exactly.
You're not weak. You're strong enough to admit what's wrong with you, what your what your problems are. You understand
your weaknesses.
You understand
your
yourself.
Weaknesses. Yeah. But being able to express that, right? That in itself is a victory.
Oh yeah.
And being able to express that to your coach. And now, I mean,
look at Alcoholics Anonymous. The hardest thing, like they make you do at the very beginning, is you say, "Hi, my name is. I'm an alcoholic."
Wow, that's deep.
They have you at the very beginning admit what your problem is, what you're here for, so you have to face it.
Yeah,
and that takes strength.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess as a school owner, you know, I mean, you hear crazy stories, right? Some people, some coaches being really crazy and just not really, like just not really being attentive to their students.
Well, that's another thing about, like, some people, you might go to a gym that you don't like, but it's like dating. Not every single girl I meet I like.
Exactly.
You know, I want to keep dating until I find someone that I do like. I just go. That's what the whole purpose of dating is.
Yeah.
And that's what you should do with gyms. You may not like this gym. All right, we'll go try another one.
Yeah, there's a lot of different vibes from different schools. Some schools are just straight up competition, and you know, it's hard to really, like, you know, build in there, like everybody's out to kill you type of vibe, you know. And then there's other gyms that are more laid back, and, you know, other gyms that are more serious. It's all in what you're looking for, right? But I think when you're, you know, like, what would, for you, would you say like that laid back family style was the best place you could have been at versus maybe, you know, going to competition school? Or
definitely at first, because you have the anxiety level of, because like you go to some places where they're focusing on just like, I'm not really making relationships. I'm just here and I'm beating you up and I'm leaving. I feel like that could, because like we break you down and we build you up, just like in the military, just with like anything that's beginner. They break you down and they build you up. And I think that you have a problem with that at certain gyms. But if you have the right mindset and that's what you want to do, it's good. But you got to understand, like, you know, sometimes you're the nail and you're just getting hammered all the time.
Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. Yeah, so yeah, I think for a lot of newer guys, it's all in what you want, right? You just have to be prepared for whatever comes at you. And again, regardless of what type of school you go to, showing up that's the only thing you really need to do. Show up, get beat up people, you know, and go home. Tap often, go home.
We have people all the time come in and they don't want to tap, and then you hear them like,
they quit. Well, they get hurt.
Yourself. You should have tapped.
Yep, tap often, show up, go home. You know.
So I feel like some people treat the gym as competition. All right, well, you have certain days like that, but you need to understand, like, these are my friends. This isn't a competitive thing. If you go with that mindset, all right, let's say you're the best in the gym. What do you get out of going to the gym now? You beat everybody up. That's all you're doing. You know how to win. You perfected your craft. You got like awesome triangles. You got an awesome butterfly guard. You sweep them. They counter. You put them in a triangle and they tap. And you do that to everyone. How else do you get better? I feel like you get bored. Yeah, you gotta either teach them to be better or go to a better school and get your training there. Yeah, you got to experiment. You got to try new things. I remember Rager telling me that sometimes he comes in and he just focuses on one thing. Like, all right, today I want to work on my UPA escape. Today I want to work on my side mounts escape. And he'll let you get into positions just so you can get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Training what you suck at.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. Is just showing up. If you're new, if you're struggling with stuff, it might not even be PTSD. It could just be depression or anything. Just showing up is the battle, right? And being able to acknowledge this and letting your instructor know where you're at. And I think being vulnerable and open about who you are and the if you're going through a lot, just I think it goes a long way. I think that whole macho coming in like I'm gonna beat everybody up here. Those guys they like leave after 3 months.
Not even 3 months.
Yeah, not even 3 months. They're gone after like a couple weeks, man.
And it was sometimes we have people just come in and then they're gone within an hour.
Yeah,
because they're just like, I'm done. Like,
yeah, they come in, tough guy. Oh man, I just want to fight.
I always thought that was interesting about, because everybody knows how to fight, but they don't know how to fight well.
Yeah, and everybody wants to fight until they get punched in the face, right? Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the face. So, yeah, man, just if you're thinking about things that will help you with your life, for both me and Nate, martial arts, particularly jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, Muay Thai have helped us tremendously.
I definitely think more, especially with jiu-jitsu, because I think when it comes to like striking and wrestling, that you could get like knocked out or something, or taken down real quick, and you don't learn as much. But with jiu-jitsu, you're learning.
That is true.
As you're getting beat.
Yeah, BJJ is different. It's a different beast from everything else, right? It's a live chess match, and there's a lot of thinking involved. It's almost like 80-20, 80% mind, 20% body, right? And a lot of guys go in there the other way, and they end up losing. But I think what's interesting is about with jiu-jitsu is that it helps you to really problem solve, right? And then it translates to your real life. Whenever you struggle, like being mounted by a big, sweaty, nasty dude for like 5 minutes, it's humbling. He could weigh 250 pounds just crushing you. But if you can survive that, and it's okay. And it's okay, yeah. You survive that after the 5-minute round or 6-minute or whatever minute round. You come out of there and you're like, man, I didn't tap. I survived that. I actually escaped. And each time you get better and better. Maybe you swept him, and you submit him the next time or whatever. That's perseverance, right? It is perseverance in physical form, and that translates all into your life, whether if it's work or family, whatever situations that bring you down. I feel like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has been a physical, almost like a physical symbolism of the battles that we face on a day-to-day, and being able to conquer it, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Wrestling, Muay Thai, I think those are more of a fighting martial art where you're really there to like fight, like you're there to take somebody down or catch somebody with a hit.
I feel like it's just hard to learn your mistakes.
And yeah, it is. It's so fast paced.
Yeah, because like I tell people, I'm like, I can take you down. What did you learn?
Yeah,
you learned you were here and now you're on the ground.
You can break it down, right?
Yeah, I could break it down for you, but if you don't know if you don't know how to think, then you're just like, I was standing and now I'm on the ground. Yeah, just like with punching. All right, he's over there and I'm getting hit. How is he reaching me? Like, some people don't even have that concept of, hey, this is my reach. This is how far I can reach. Like I can come here and I can touch things. All right, why can I touch this?
And that's all when it comes to being new at it.
Yeah.
Learning from it takes a long time to get there, right? Understanding fight science, distance and all that, footwork and everything like that. That doesn't just happen, But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the first day you're learning, you get tapped, you're like, oh crap, like that's insane, and then you restart, you know, and it is a different beast compared to everything else.
Yeah, because like on day one, let's say if you have no experience whatsoever, and sometimes I even have this experience with wrestlers, because in wrestling we're quick to give up our back and stand up. You give up your back and now you're getting choked out.
You're done.
So you're learning, all right, if I turn my back, I'm getting choked out. I'm turning over my back, I'm getting choked out.
Yeah, and the opposite true too, right? Where in wrestling you don't want your back on the mat, while in jiu-jitsu is like come into my guard, right?
Well, if you think about it, that's the ground fighting aspect of wrestling. I'm on my back, so that's when it slows down.
Exactly. Yeah, they say, I think there's a quote where it's like where wrestling ends, you know, jiu-jitsu starts, right? Like, and then judo is just them two together. But
because everything came from judo, right?
yeah, judo is the father of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I think, you know, people out there that struggle with the PTSD, things like that, you know, just coming from somebody that deals with it personally. Even myself, not with PTSD, but struggling years, you know, with depression, and you know, anxiety and all those kind of things. Jiu-jitsu changed my life, you know. Muay Thai, the fighting, you know, wrestling, you know, not necessarily changed my life, but made me stronger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like made me stronger as a human being. But jiu-jitsu in itself changed my mindset, you know, and how I think. It's like, you know, you just think differently. When you start it and you keep getting tapped, but you keep going, it's this weird thing I can't explain. like it's like, why did it happen? And I need to get better, you know, and the only way to get better is to show up, you know, and you know, I owe a lot of my life to jiu-jitsu. It, like a lot of people say, like, oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life, maybe in a physical situation or you know, you know, whatever type of situation. For me, it was a very emotional situation, you know, being in a very dark place.
Yeah, it's like when someone comes up to you on the street, all right, if you have no idea of distance management, the dude's standing right beside you and now he sucker punched you. All right, well now if you understand what it is, now you take it, like you understand distancing with punches and kicks. Now you take a couple steps back, and now you're gonna see if he's actually an aggressor, because he's gonna move forward closer to you and stuff. And then with jiu-jitsu, like, all right, we're always going after the aggressor. If the person comes aggressive, then we take them down, and now we can easily neutralize them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's interesting, like if you look at animals, a lot of animals, when they're fighting each other, they automatically go to their back and they start clawing.
How many videos of those are there out there? Right?
You see them clawing and kicking. Yeah. When you take a human to the ground, what does he do? He turns around, gives up his back, he stands up, and he got kicked in the face.
Yeah. Brazilian legs, man. That's all self-defense 101. Break falling and, you know. But, yeah, so if you're struggling out there, we both highly recommend taking some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you struggle with anxiety and things like that, maybe just hit pads first until you get more comfortable with the gym, and then try your Jiu-Jitsu. You know, Nate's way, I think that's probably the best
even if
way.
the gym doesn't offer hitting pads, you know, you could go to like a regular weight gym, you could punch the bag, or just go to the jiu-jitsu gym and just understand, tap whenever you're uncomfortable. I don't like people being on top of me. I'm mounted. I can't do anything. Just tap.
Yeah,
who cares?
True.
You know, it's a victory. All right. Think of it like this. All right. The last time I lasted 10 seconds before I tap because my anxiety got too much. It's too claustrophobic. All right. Now it's 15. Now it's 20.
Yeah, you're winning each time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of your type, you're winning against yourself. I think that's the whole battle. It's like in jiu-jitsu, like, you know, I am going against another guy, but really the battle is internal. You know, am I going to give up this position because I quit? You know, I quit fighting for this half guard. You know, I quit fighting his guard break. You know what I mean? Like I allowed him to pass, you know, because I'm tired. You know what I mean? It's like that battle to hold on for that next level, you know, and then once you get there, that's when you hit your spurt, you know, or you hit your next level, you know, and you know, it's very real, man. There's so much metaphor in jiu-jitsu and life is. So, I mean, regardless of everything else, you know, we both highly recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for, you know, people out there.
Because they always say jiu-jitsu is easy, right? All right. One example I like to give like my family back home is, all right, I'm driving. All right, there's all these cars right here. I'm resisting. I'm going with the resistance. Take a different route. Make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Find a different way. Always go with the easier route.
Yeah.
Like everything's
absolutely.
If it's hard, you're not doing things right.
That's my philosophy. That with jiu-jitsu, when I teach on Thursday, I'm always like, it's all about the jiu-jitsu path, like the roadmap. Mm-hmm. You know, if you hit a wall, take a detour. You know, like there's multiple ways to get to this. You know, it's all about the destination. You know, and well, in terms of jiu-jitsu, it's all about how to get to that B point, right? You start in A, which is you start either on your feet or you fight against the guy sitting on his butt or whatever. But how are you gonna pass, or how are you gonna hit that leg lock, or how are you gonna, you know, there's a road to get there, right? And you have to follow this path, and there's gonna be obstacles, and you need a way to either get around it, drive right through it. If you're like a 200 pound all muscle guy and you can do that, do it. You can hop over it if you got a hover car. Some guys with some crazy flexibility out there.
Sean.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Sean, if you're listening, we hate you. He can get out of the mount by freaking hooking his feet into your armpits while you're mounting
you
him.
Me so many times. I'm like,
yeah.
Where did that come from?
So he's got a hover. Yeah, he's got the hover car. Right, he can just fly right over the obstacle. But it's a metaphor for life, and I think everybody should be doing it, especially those that are struggling. So we're gonna close this up. Something quirky about you. This is something I always like to end on. You mentioned you're really into Batman.
Yeah.
I know, lately you've been talking a lot about PUBG, which is what, Player Unknown Battleground, yeah. Which is as like a multiplayer online shooting game, right?
Yeah, it's addicting. But
I stay away from it. I don't even want to touch it, man. But
like it's like a blessing and a curse for me, because like sometimes it triggers me for like when I'm like I hear things and I'm like, cause I got a headset, I'm like so it triggers me, but it's also kind of therapeutic because like it's not really happening, and it's really addicting because like you can actually like use tactics on it, so I find it
that's funny.
Very fun.
But no Fortnite.
Fortnite just seems complicated to me.
Yeah,
because like
you're like building stuff, right?
And they're building.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's too much for me. I can't even.
Yeah,
I probably, if I did play, I'd probably get more into PUBG. But what about other things? I know you mentioned some other stuff. I think one was you and Travis always talk about Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I played Pokemon for a while, but I was a Gen 1 guy, so
okay. So you're OG.
All the Pokemon people now, they're gonna hate me. I'm a Gen 1 guy. I'm red and blue.
Red and blue.
Actually, I'm red. I'm red and blue. I'm just red.
Very
simple.
I never got into the whole Pokemon thing.
But it's funny because like Travis, like he'll call me up and he'll start talking to me, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I bet you know what a certain number of Pokemon is," and I said it, and he's like, "Holy cow, that's right." I'm like, "I don't even know. I don't. I'm like, we spent years memorizing that."
That's funny. And you were into computer games before?
Yeah. I remember I played Age of Empires. It was really addicting, and the thing that I enjoyed about it was it actually had like history to it, so it taught you history. So that like me and my brother and my cousin, we like the games where we actually like teach you things. So we're like we do the side missions and we learn, and then we start playing the game and like doing things. But I remember playing Age of Empires, and my uncle, he was really really good at it, and I got myself down to where I could micromanage things very well.
Wow!
So like I would
like
have
them
like
Koreans.
So I would It was like, so I would basically, I remember there was a plan on how I did things. Like I'd get like 6 villagers to go get berries and stuff, and then like the next 5 villagers, all right, you're gonna go fish. And then as soon as those guys start producing fish, the guys who are doing the berries, now you're gonna go over here and you're gonna start chopping wood. And then like as I start building things up, all right, now you guys are in gold mine. So like I take things and like micromanage it.
Yeah,
it Yeah.
That's funny, man. Yeah, so for people that don't know what AOE is, or Age of Empire, it was a real-time strategy game, right? It's like chess, but like imagine every piece moving games. At the same. Yeah, it's like
even when I played Pokemon, it's like I would build up my team to beat other people's teams. Not necessarily like, all right, well, I like this Pokemon. No, I'm like, I'm doing things where you have a weakness, and my guys have the limited amount of weakness, which is another reason why I was a Gen 1 guy, because now like the other generations, they come in and everybody's got a weakness and everybody's got an answer.
That's funny. You probably should change your name to Nate the General. Right. But so the real-time strategy games are like, imagine if chess was like every piece was moving at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. Not just one and then you go and then I go, but everything's moving consecutively. And, my comment about the Koreans, they're really good at these games. There's a game that I used to play called StarCraft, which these guys in Korea, like they have their teams now. There's legit sports teams. Like
they're getting paid for it.
Yeah, they're getting paid like millions of dollars.
There's Twitter accounts, not Twitter.
Twitch. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like they're getting legit paid $1 million to be great at StarCraft, and these guys can micromanage.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, right. They can micromanage single units, which are like the size of your fingertip or whatever, on a screen and make them do all this stuff. It's so crazy, So yeah, they're on a different level when it comes to that type of stuff. It's like it's like having like your red belt. Jiu-Jitsu is like knowing everything, knowing what. Okay, so people might not know. In Jiu-Jitsu, you have your 5 belts that most people get, which is your
not including the younger belts.
Yeah, for adults: white, blue, purple, brown, and black. After that, you get into the red, and red is basically all the OGs, like the top of the top, the guys that have been 50 years plus or whatever, or that have made a tremendous contribution to the Jiu-Jitsu community. So when we say red belt, we mean like the highest of high. And these Koreans have red belts at these games. It's so ridiculous. Why even play? Why even touch the game when you have people that are? But then again,
they know how to take the character and just like do this and boom. All right, they're avoiding everything that you do.
Yeah. You can say the same about, I guess, Jiu-Jitsu too. It's like there's some guys that are wizards out there.
But the one combo special. Yeah. I'm going to keep hitting down X. Freaking Mortal Kombat stuff.
But I mean, you get a lot of benefits to train and competing. I don't know. I mean, I guess in video games, the benefits are stress relief, right? Mm-hmm. Unless if you're the top of the top and making millions of dollars, most of it is stress relief and having fun.
Some of them get paid just because they made a funny joke. Somebody's like,
that is true
$3.
too.
I'm like, oh,
you got PewDiePie out there, which is hilarious, but silly and crazy. I think it's so funny we're getting into this, but yeah, with like people like PewDiePie. I'm not a fan of his comedy or anything like that, but the way, as an editor myself that edits videos, and I don't know if he edits his stuff himself or if he hires somebody. I think he does it himself, but he's great at editing. He just hits everything at the right point, like the right song, the right sound, the right joke, and it's like always it just like hits on the X, and that's where it's like having that level of editing versus somebody that's just doing something, it's like it's different, and it's probably the reason why he's I think the highest paid person on YouTube. But I know a lot of people hate him, so if you hate him, just appreciate his video editing because the guy's got skills. I think he's doing it himself, and if not, then his editor has skills. But yeah, thank you so much for this episode.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your heart. My hope is that a lot of people will be inspired by it, and will be able to build up, just being able to build up some strength to go out there and to take on life. Knowing that you've done it. And I just want to say that every year when we go out for Veterans Day, I love it. You are one of my heroes. And you helped me to keep going too. So I just want to say thanks, man.
Thank you.
And thank you for episode 3, and looking forward to do episode 4 with the next guy. So
maybe you should say who it is.
I don't even know yet, to be honest. I think it's gonna be Jeff. Jeff Brown. He is pursuing his PhD in ecology. I don't know, man. I'm gonna screw it all up. But Jeff Brown's probably the smartest person I've ever met, and I've met some smart people in my life.
He's got a lot of skills.
Yeah, Jeff is on a different level. Like, I'm talking about smart, like not just like, oh, he's good at school. Like, no, Jeff was a D1 nationally ranked fencer. He's a blue belt and he taps out black belts. He's getting his PhD, and he's done some research. He's lived in where was it? I don't even know. It was like some island or something where he was just studying birds. And
sounds like Jeff.
Yeah, he's done some crazy stuff, man. And he's probably one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. Yeah, I'm gonna try to have him on next. But I got so many people coming on, man. Sung, Razor, who's a federal agent, and it's gonna be good. There's a lot of good content. So, and I'm excited because these guys, man, every person I interview, I take something from them, because I'm all about, just like you, just continuing in learning. This whole life is just about learning, and becoming better, and learning and becoming better, right? Regardless, in any shape or form, it's really about learning and getting better, and ultimately hoping that you make an impact to change somebody's life or this world, So all the people that I'm interviewing are all people that have definitely made a mark on my life and have helped me deeply, So I hope, you guys out there that are listening in, that they help you as well, because this is what it's about, take away competition, because we all get old, we all get hurt. Take away, our bodies, take away, whatever, what we still have is the human spirit, and the spirit to continue to fight, and not giving up, and nothing pains me more when I see people that were like me that gave up, so this shows to help you guys. So, and encourage other people, bringing on experts that are really great in fields that you may be interested in or pursuing after, and hearing their perspectives on it. So Nate, with his military background, I hope, a lot of you that are in the military, appreciate what he shares, but I also hope that those that are about to go into the military really hear his words, really hear what his experience was, and soak it in, to see what it, a real person that has experienced both the ups and the downs and has come home, but continues to still move forward. So, again, thank you. And, I'll see you on the mats. All right, man. Yeah, we're all good.